Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special edition of Natural State Sports. It is the Coaching Search 2019 special. And, of course, you see me rolling solo. Will is here with me. What's up, Will?
Oh, nothing. Just ready to talk some more coaching rumors.
I know, right? Dude, hey, by the way, major props from last week stepping in. So, I see you came back and decided to join me again.
Well, yeah, kind of. I mean, it's interesting. It's fun to talk this kind of stuff.
Uh-huh. So, big news on the other front, though. Katie will be back January 24th. So, we will be glad to have her back. Y'all continue to keep her in your thoughts and prayers as she's dealing with some personal issues right now with her and her family. Oh, man. By the way, got to thank Harris Made Chef Services for sponsoring Natural State Sports live on location next Friday, bright and early. Will, you ready for that?
Yes, Tailgate War Memorial.
Tailgating War Memorial Stadium.
Sell out War Memorial.
Yes.
So it's got to get done.
Yes, Harris Made for 30 years. Chef James Harris is bringing his culinary excellence to you. It is a veteran-owned company, so it's going to be found at harris-made.com. You're going to want to check that out. But big props to James Harris. He is a personal friend of mine, so go help him out. harris-made.com. We also got to thank Mountain Valley Spring Water. Since 1871, it's been bottled right here in Arkansas. It's pretty sweet stuff, too, dude.
Well, it's not sweet, but yeah, it tastes good. It's good water.
Some of the best water, and they're bottled in glass.
It is. It's the best tasting in glass. I'm telling you, it's people just like, no, it's just a way to, to sell it, for a higher price.
Right.
No, it tastes totally different in glass.
It does.
I'm telling
It
you.
does. By the way, Steve and Justin will be joining me live next Friday on the golf course at War Memorial Stadium. It's going to be great. I'm hoping it doesn't rain like it did last year, though.
Oh, yeah.
Woo! They tore up War Memorial last year. Did you see pictures of that?
Yeah, there was some pictures floating around on Facebook and all.
That was fun. All right. You ready for this, Will?
Sure, let's go.
Round one. I'm going to jump right into everybody's pick of the day. Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin out of
Get
Florida.
On the Lane train.
Florida Atlantic University's head coach right now. He is 23-3 at Florida Atlantic. He's 58-34 overall. And wasn't there a new rumor going around that said he, on his Twitter account today, that he removed all the Florida Atlantic stuff and started following random Arkansas people?
Well, it wasn't really rumor because it really happened. I mean, there's...
Oh, I see. I haven't been on Twitter this afternoon.
I went and checked it out, and there's nothing about Florida Atlantic except his actual tweets from his past. So, things interesting. And then what was shared in our admin chat by Steve? Yeah. The screenshot of the plane tracking.
Are we really tracking that plane, though? I mean, come on.
Come on. So, it was in Florida.
It was in Fort Worth, too.
Yes. And
which one's in Fort Worth?
I don't know. Bob Stoops.
See, I don't.
He's coaching the XFL team in Dallas. Oh.
See,
No. But back to Lane Kiffin. So he's making a little bit. I've seen 980,000 on Wikipedia, and yeah, there's been some reports he makes like $1.5 million. So I'm like, I don't know, just around $1 million. So what do you think the biggest
advantage that he brings to Arkansas?
Advantage that he would bring to Arkansas.
That one's kind of hard. Okay. By the way, before we jump too deep into that, I want to remind everybody, yes, we realize that the Arkansas basketball team is playing. We are going to give you updates throughout the show. It is now 9 minutes, 30 seconds-ish into the first half. Arkansas is rolling right now, 22-10 over Texas Southern with the return of Reggie Channing. But going back on Lane Kiffin, the biggest advantage is he knows what it takes to win at an SEC level. I mean, look at it. He was head coach at Tennessee, and then he was offensive coordinator under Alabama. Under Alabama, listen to me. Under Nick Saban at Alabama. There we go.
To me, I think, so everyone goes back to his not so great record between Tennessee and USC. But my biggest advantage to him, or thing that he could bring to Arkansas, is the fact that he spent a couple years under Nick Saban. He has learned what a championship program does in college football to be successful, not just 1 or 2 years, But for how long has Saban been there? A decade now? 11 years?
07?
Yeah, so 12 years or so. So
Or was it? No, it was,
it
was 07 because he
08 was his first year because he played as Arkansas's coach in his first year. And that
That's
was
right.
08.
That's right.
So he knows what it takes to build a championship program because he was under Saban for those couple of years. I think that really, and like I said, everybody keeps going back to his record at the other schools, but I think that him being able to spend that time under Saban has really kind of helped him mature. There are rumors out there that maybe it didn't help him mature, but I think you've seen while he's at Florida Atlantic that you don't have these stories coming out about, Kiffin, using his Joey Freshwater name, down there.
That was real. I heard that on the.
I don't know if that's real.
See, I heard that on the buzz on the buzz today, and I was like, that can't be real. That can't be real.
So I don't think that that it's as bad as people say whenever it comes to him possibly being our coach. What do you think maybe a negative would be of him coming here?
Honestly, I honestly can't think of one off the top of my head. But again, I haven't been following Lane Kiffin that closely.
I haven't either, but
But I wanted to touch on a point that you made. Okay,
sorry.
that ain't right,
Sorry,
Eric.
no, I had to. I'm going to pop that up on the screen, and I don't know what this is going to do because this is something that I'm testing out with.
Yeah, we're testing new features for 2020, so y'all bear with us.
2020, that's 2019. We're using them today, so let's go.
But we don't know if they're gonna work. That's the problem.
It's gonna work here because look at this. That popped up on the screen.
There you go.
So Eric O'Neill says maybe Saban's daughter helped him quote unquote mature.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that was one of the rumors I was kind of talking
about.
Yeah. Him not maybe maturing while at Bama, but I didn't want to go there. But since Eric did, let's go ahead and talk about it.
That's fun. But no, I wanted to touch on a point that you had made about him being at USC. The point that Steve made to me when we were recording the podcast last night was that he would have had USC bowl eligible, would have been able to play for the conference championship in year 2, but because of sanctions that were not brought on by him, but by former head coach and current Seattle Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll, brought down with the whole Reggie Bush thing and everything else. Kind of like we touched on last week.
I agree, and it comes down to, are we as a program, which let's be honest, Arkansas is not a state as a program to where we can really be, what they say, beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah.
We cannot be a chooser in this situation.
No, but at the same time, we don't want to start grasping at straws. We don't want to sit there and just take anybody that will take the job because, like my point has been, what happens if this guy comes in and 2 years shows no improvement, and again he's not winning the way we want, the boos start up again? Are we going to fire him and we're just going to go on this 2-year carousel of coaches?
I don't think that that's going to be the case with any of the coaches we look at possibly getting, because I think that we wouldn't have been that way with Morris, but we just saw things within the program, and I don't mean to beat a dead horse with this.
No, me and Steve already done it. Just keep beating it. It'd be all right.
But, okay. But,
shut up, Phil. That's Steve's night job. That's Steve's night job.
Oh, man, you just made me lose my train of thought. So,
no,
I don't
you did
think
that.
Oh, man, Zach, come on. No. Okay, so you saw little things within the program that you just had. You had your train of thought thinking, oh no, what's going on in the program? Whether it be, some of the tweets that players were tweeting out at the end of last year. Remember, right after the end of the Missouri game, you get a tweet coming from C.J. O'Grady. Declare? ? If a coach has control over a program like he should at the end of a season, you wouldn't have players tweeting out, what was that, 5 minutes, 10 minutes after the game?
I don't even think it was that long. But here's funny you should mention that, okay? Because one of the points that Steve and I have made constantly is the fact that when Bielema was fired 2 years ago, everybody came out on Twitter, players that is, everybody came out on Twitter and was saying, you got what you wanted, or you guys happy now, blah, 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 and coming out in defense of Brett Bielema. Morris gets fired. We saw none of that.
Well, I think we probably saw a couple of the younger players that were recruited by Morris. For
Well, we
almost
saw
the season before
we
he
saw
signed
Nick
here.
Saban. We saw Nick Starkel tweet out, "Thank you, coach, for giving me the opportunity to continue to play the game I love."
And that's just kind of a sentimental thing, but
It wasn't anything to the effect of what Bielema had.
no, and we can go back to say that the players did not want Bielema fired.
No.
But I think that he was just at a point in his time here that he had gotten stagnant as well, or lazy,
Yeah.
or
He just got complacent.
very much so. So
But-
I think that has a big part to do with his firing. But with Morris, it was just the little things you saw. There was no progress anywhere in the program at all, and it so much so that it was regression. And so that, I think, made it just I'm not going to say easy, because it's never easy to think about firing someone, but
Right.
because it does have a lot of personal situation with his whole family and everything, but it helps in making the decision to do so. And
Well, but you never saw any of that. And speaking with some of the people that are closely connected to that program while I was under Morris, when he was fired, I asked several people, how's the morale of the team? How's the aura of the team? What have you? They all had one word in common: relief.
yeah.
So I really think, and again, Steve and I spoke about it last night. That podcast episode this week will be coming later this week, just in time for the drive down to Baton Rouge. That you're gonna see a new spark when it comes to this football team. Now, Barry Lunney may not even be in consideration. He may not. But I think he needs to be at least on the short list. At least be on the short list. Because if you're going to consider a guy like Norvell, you're going to consider a guy like who we just talking about? Kiffin. Good Lord. It's been a day, y'all. I apologize.
Huh.
But if you're going to consider stuff like that, you're going to have to at least put Lunney on the short list. He's a former player. He bleeds Razorback red. I at least consider him. But you're not going to, you're going to see, the main thing that we need to see from this next head coach is unity in the locker room. Don't you agree?
Yes, and I think that the coach cannot come in and immediately single out players. And with Morris, it was
If that was true, that is stupid.
well, do you remember that first video of him with the first team meeting?
Yeah,
And-
but
and there were some things that you can go back and watch in that, and you're like scratching your head. Now, at first, we were like, yeah, because it was so different than Bielema.
one of the things that, and it's funny you should mention that, but one of the things that Steve brought to my attention was going back on it now, seeing how his last couple of press conferences were. He was bouncing around questions. Okay, he was giving all this coaches speak.
You're talking Morris?
Yeah.
Okay.
You go back to his original press conference when he was hired, and then the first team meeting, and all these videos. That anonymous tweet's starting to make sense.
Yeah, and you know what?
I'm just saying.
Yeah, and I still don't know. I still don't like the fact that someone's going to come out and say something like that without owning up to it. Come on.
I think I
You're-
know who
by
it
this
was.
time, by this time, you're a graduated college student, so you're an adult now. Have some guts.
Josh, we're gonna roll through his comments here. Josh,
Hold on just a second. Have some guts and put your name to a comment if you're going to say something like that.
well, you and I had talked about this last year, that most people knew who it was when that happened. It's a former wide receiver. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
So Josh Dampier, I hope I didn't just massacre that name. If I did, I apologize, y'all. He says, "What about the coach from Cincy,
So that would be, Luke Fickle.
Fickle?"
Yeah. I'm kind of.
I would love that name here in Arkansas.
I'm kind of fickle on this situation, on this subject of this coach.
Did you really just go there?
Yes.
You really somewhere
He's
somewhere
done-
along the line, Steve's head is exploding right now.
He's done good at Cincinnati.
He has.
But he was also the interim head coach at Ohio State, and though that is kind of got me a little concerned because I think he was like 7-5 or something, and you were playing with all that 5-star talent at Ohio State.
But he's still got a winning rate. He still went 7-5 with it. I'm just look.
No,
Look, man. After
I
go
know,
after
after
maxing out at 4 wins over the past 5 years, come on, dude.
I get it.
I'll take
exactly why you're
7-5
saying that,
every season at this point.
Not when you have. Well, I think they get like 5 or 6 5-stars every signing class.
Yeah, okay,
So,
I can understand
30 to 40% of their class is 5-stars. So I'm just that's kind of.
that. Justin, who's on our staff, says if he doesn't win, then Hunter Yurachek is in trouble for his job. This hire will make or break him at Arkansas. Hold on a moment. They've gone back and forth here. Eric O'Neill rebutted and said Hunter Yurachek is going anywhere. Justin says, not saying he will, but this hire means a lot. It's definitely important, but got to remember he didn't hire Morris, so that's not on him. And that's where the misconception comes into play, is that everybody thinks that Hunter Yurachek's the one that hired Morris. They got hired a week apart. Did they not? Or am I?
I don't know that it was a week. It was a couple of days, but as I don't know if anybody's listened to the Hog Pod podcast with Bo Mattingly when he had Julie.
Shameless plug.
Well, no, it's not a plug because I don't care to help him benefit anything. I mean, well, we're gonna give him a couple extra listens. But anyways, with Julie Cromer's People, that episode, how it laid out, she talked about went and picked up Yurachek, and then they flew from Houston to Dallas to meet with Morris.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I think they worked it out there in the living room.
Well,
I think.
I think the details were pretty much all worked out except one little thing. I think that she had to get fixed with the agents, and then they agreed on it or whatever, and they gave thumbs
Gave
up,
the thumbs up, the
across it
subtle
or
thumbs up,
but
or whatever.
So it wasn't Yurachek, but I will say, I kind of agree with Justin here that it may not ultimately be the defining part of Yurachek's career here, but as far as the money making portion of this university, of this athletics department, with this football program, it's going to be huge, because if we don't right the ship and start making the funds that we need to with this football program, then yes, he will be gone pretty quickly. Because again, the football program's a moneymaker.
Well, and I'm gonna, and I did this during the podcast recording last night, but I want to do it again because you and I made the trek, met Eric Musselman, head coach, basketball team, and we asked him what the identity was. And he said, remember what he said? He said, I don't know. That's what this head coach needs to do. This next hire needs to come in, evaluate the talent that he has, and go from there. Don't walk in and be a big talk. Eric Musselman didn't do that. Now, Eric Musselman won over fans by the way he conducts practice and the way he conducts himself on Twitter.
So, yeah.
There's not a lot of coaches speak.
That is very true. He's very upfront, very honest with things, especially, the 5 or 6 minutes you were able to sit down with him. He was very, very straightforward and honest. And even that night at the Razorback Club, when people were asking questions from the crowd, he was very straightforward with them. And I don't think that we need a coach to come in and just talk coach speak, but we also don't need a coach to come in and be like Morris was and trying to fit a square peg in a round hole, or vice versa, whatever that saying is.
Yeah.
But I do think, honestly, though, when you look at the talent that's on campus, you look at Lane Kiffin and the offense he likes to run, we could very well take the talent we have and go 7-5 next season.
But the thing is, can Lane Kiffin come in and evaluate the talent before making a decision? Here's the problem. Morris couldn't decide on a quarterback. And at the last minute, it was always, well, Ben Hicks is going to start. Ben Hicks. Oh, wait, Starkel's going to throw. We're going to throw Starkel in there and let him throw 5 interceptions. That's all we knew. Even with, and again, I'm gonna kind of throw Barry Lunny under the bus here, but even with Barry Lunny, we don't know who the quarterback's gonna be against LSU.
He's known from the minute he took the.
We all knew it's gonna be KJ.
Yeah, pretty much. So,
but there's a lot of what ifs with Lane Kiffin.
With every coach,
there is, but with Lane Kiffin, there's a little bit more. Can he evaluate the talent, but can he recruit where we need to recruit? Places like Tulsa, Memphis, Texas, Louisiana.
Of all the coaches we're going to speak about tonight, I think that he would be the best as far as recruiting. And I think that is a big part. Hold on. What are you saying, Eric? Gus is out. It would cost us $30 million.
Well, hold on. Before you jump in there, our one of our top fans, quote unquote, J.M. McCoy has joined the show. And he says, Mike Irwin said today that Hunter Yurachek allegedly has a candidate, but not sure if Arkansas can afford him. Hopefully that doesn't mean Gus. I'm a Mike Leach guy, but I wouldn't be upset if they went and spent the money and got James Franklin or Kyle Whittingham. I'd be okay with it.
Okay, so let's go back to the very last coach that he said, Kyle Whittingham. I don't think he would come.
Where's he at?
Utah. But he's from Utah. I do believe he went to BYU. And he's been pretty much a Utah West Coast guy his whole life.
Right.
So I don't, even though he does recruit Texas well for Utah, I don't know that he would come unless he just had the allure of coaching in the SEC.
True.
The other coach, James Franklin, I wouldn't mind him at all. But again, can we afford him? I mean, I don't know what he's making up at Penn State, probably 5 or so.
Can you lure him away from Penn State?
If he wants to
when
get
he
back
left
in the South, he could.
Well, but remember when he left Vanderbilt, he said Penn State was the job he wanted.
At the time, yeah, because they're wanting to pay him, how much ever money. But I think that I would love to be able to get someone like James Franklin, because if you remember, Mississippi State's head coach Joe Moorhead was his offensive coordinator, and they had some fun offense up there.
So you made a point earlier today in our group chat.
I don't like where this is going.
Ryan Cravens says everyone is all against Bobby Petrino because he didn't do much with Louisville after us, but they don't have near the amount of money or influence we do. He proved what he could do with SEC money. Why wouldn't we give him another chance? We were 6th in the damn nation.
Oh,
now, wait a minute. There have been a lot of back and forth with he was fired with cause, so he cannot be rehired. However, that policy took effect after that firing, correct? So basically, we can rehire him if we so choose. I don't think we will, though.
So I think Andrew Hutchinson kind of wrote an article today about trying to clear up that misconception. I've still had someone object to that clarification because they said they've worked in the government, in the state government, and that's not the policy. If he was a state employee, which I thought football coaches, I thought they were state employees, but so I don't know how all that works. But if it was just according to the university bylaws,
right,
then he would be eligible for a rehire because that policy didn't get put in place until 2013, and then they came back and adjusted the policy in 2017, saying that it's not going to be effective for anyone who had been previously terminated. So
I'm going to make Steve's head explode and go, bring back Houston. I'm totally kidding. Game update. With 2 to go in the first half, you've got Arkansas up 33-19. So it's pretty easy to say that I think Arkansas's gotten in their rhythm for this game.
Possibly. So the next coach we want to talk about, and he's already been mentioned several times.
Look, man, you're leeching off of the fan base.
Oh, I hate you. That was horrible.
I beat you to it.
That was a horrible pun.
Yes.
No.
It was ridiculous, but damn it, I used it.
So Mike Leach, okay. So his record overall at Washington State's 54-45, and
he's 138 and 80. 88 overall.
So and his salary is 3.75. So can we bring him down here? Can we lure Mike Leach to Arkansas for $4.5 to $5 million? And what do you think what do you think that his biggest positive for bringing him to Arkansas would be?
The press conferences.
Oh, come on.
No, I mean, okay.
Outside of the entertainment factor.
Outside of the entertainment factor, what kind of offense does?
Oh, that's okay.
Are you good?
Yeah.
We just had an equipment failure over here. What kind of an offense does he run? It's the air raid, isn't it?
Yes, it's the air raid, and there's a huge misconception about his running game.
Yeah.
I think last year he had the 1,000-yard rusher, or maybe this year he's got a 1,000-yard rusher. I cannot remember which, but there is very much the misconception that he doesn't run the ball, and he, to the most part, he doesn't, but he very much does have the short passing game that allows for a lot of the running space, I guess you could say, for the running backs to come out of the backfield. You know, a guy like Chase Hayden, and then this young Traylon Smith that's sitting out from Arizona State. Man, those two would really benefit from Mike Leach's system. You get them the ball in space. T.J. Hammonds, Davion Warren, those guys.
Monte Spivey.
Shifty. Yeah.
Who's the running back from ASU that's supposed to be pretty quick?
Traylon Smith.
Traylon Smith. So, I mean, you've got a good stable back there. But that's fine. But we had an equipment failure, so Will's gonna have to step away for a second. But here's Mike Leach has got a lot. I guess. Well, I wouldn't say baggage. Well, no, I would say baggage, quote unquote. But at the same time, we can go down the list of every available head coach right now and find something. We're breaking stuff in the background. But we can always find some kind of baggage or something on every coach. Look, I mean, Lane Kiffin, he's apparently immature. But I really think that his time under Saban humbled him. Mike Leach, his press conferences are fun. I mean, look, just watch anything of Mike Leach. Even his classroom. I would go to Fayetteville just to sit in on one of his classes if he taught one. Just to sit in on classes if he taught one.
Well, yeah, there is an interesting YouTube video talking about a class he taught. Just it wasn't even a class; it was more of an elective thing that people could do. And it was pretty entertaining, just the portions that I was able to watch on YouTube. But you know, people say that his offense wouldn't work in the SEC, and it might not. But I do think that he can get the kind of talent on the offensive side that can make this offense work. And I think he's enough of an offensive genius that he can make it work. He can find ways to make it work. So I don't totally think that he's just one of these coaches that would come in and win 4 to 5 games a year and never win any of the big coach or big time games.
Yeah, but what makes here's well, and this is going to be argument for most people. What makes his style of offense any different than what Bobby P had?
Oh, you got to watch on YouTube because it's
there are differences, but
Petrino's was more of a pro style power. I mean, you call it power running because he did like to run the ball too, but he really liked to stretch the field. Leach, it is more if you watch, he's got 3 and 4 layers of routes going on. You've got the short ones and the medium, and then you have a couple or 1 or 2 higher, 20, 25-yard routes. But he's got all these different routes that are crisscrossing each other, making the defense, have set natural pick plays to allow receivers to get open underneath and then over the top as well, just depending on the defense and everything.
I still, but okay. Let's take a for instance, okay? Let's say that we did hire Leach for $4.5 million. Who are you going to get? Because we need a defensive coordinator that is not on his way out. Let's just put it like that.
So this is an interesting conversation in our admin group message because it kind of got heated between me and Caleb a little bit.
Boy.
I'm not used to seeing that side of Caleb.
I'm kind of proud of our young buck. He's stepping up.
But I mentioned that a couple years ago, well, actually probably about 4 years ago, Leach hired a young offensive or defensive coordinator named Alex Grinch.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, he's at OU right now, but he was a defensive coordinator under Leach for 2 years, and the defenses were ranked in the 30s to 40s, which that doesn't sound, all that great, but come on, when you're paired with Mike Leach's crazy air raid offense, if you can get a defense ranked statistically in the 30s, 40s, and I think maybe one in the low 50s, like 51st or something, you get that pair that with a top 10 scoring offense, you're going to win 11 games or so, and like he did at Washington State. So I think that, and then Ohio State hired Grinch, and he did great there as well. Yes, we know, Brent, that Texas Tech and Washington State are not SEC schools. The thing with Leach is he's been able to go to bottom feeder programs that are much, much worse than Arkansas historically, as far as financially being able to support the program.
But here's where my argument's going to be. Okay? You can go into Washington State. You can go into Texas Tech and build those programs up. Okay? But we've heard all of this before. Brett Bielema, 3 Rose Bowls, back to back to back. The problem is, I don't think he won one of them. Did he not? He had 3 Rose Bowl appearances. What did he do at Arkansas? The best thing he did was a Texas Bowl win? Okay. So, whoop-de-doo. Chad Morris. Clemson was nothing until Chad Morris's offense was implemented at Clemson. So they say. Nobody jump on me for that. I'm just telling you what I've been heard. What I've been heard? what I've heard. SMU. SMU hasn't been ranked at all. They went from 0-11, 0-12 to 7-5. And he comes to Arkansas and does what? 4-18?
Yeah, so it's
that's not
good.
Again, it's great to hear this coach built this program. This coach built this program. If they can do it in the Pac-12, in the Big 12, in the ACC, in the American Athletic, why can't they do it at Arkansas? Why can't they do it in the SEC?
Well, the number one argument is going to be that programs like Alabama, Auburn, LSU, they have the defenders to stop this kind of offense. My argument, I guess, with that is you're not seeing all these great defenses in the SEC anymore.
Eric, I agree. It was not Brett Bielema that went to the Rose Bowl. It was Barry Alvarez.
Yeah.
He was a puppet.
It was Alvarez's program. So I see a comment here from JM that says Dave Aranda and Alex Grinch are both Leach disciples. Grinch may be, but Aranda's not. He was at Hawaii before going to Utah State and then to Wisconsin before taking the job at LSU now. So I don't think that he was actually under Leach because I don't remember Leach being at any of those programs. Brent Treadway asks, is Matt Rule on the radar? Man, I wish he was. But
we have no idea who's on the radar and who's off the radar at this point.
That name has literally not been shown up to actually have been on the radar anywhere. So I don't think that, unfortunately, I really, really wish that he was because he is a very good coach that has shown that he can turn around some bad programs in Temple and now Baylor. But I just, man, I really wish we could get him, but I don't think that he is a coach that's interested in coming here and rebuilding this program again. I mean, why would he want to take a third program and rebuild?
JM said Aranda coached for Leach at Texas Tech.
Not based on his Wikipedia.
Yes, because we always believe.
Okay.
There it is.
He was the GA from 99 to 2001. So, I mean, I guess you could say he's part of Leach discipleship. He was there for a year under Leach at Texas Tech, his first year at Texas Tech. So,
Okay. So the next coach.
oh boy, this is a polarizing coach, but not quite as bad as the fourth one is going to be.
The next coach.
There's no dumb puns for this one.
There's
thank
not.
goodness.
There's not. Okay. But you know I'm going to come up with one. He's
No.
got to earn his stripes.
Oh God.
These things I just come up with the top of my head. Mike Norvell out of Memphis. Okay. Everybody wonders why he's been passed up. Okay. So why has he been passed up, Will? Why?
So,
why?
Monday, the SEC commissioner, Greg Sankey, was at the Little Rock Touchdown Club, and I find this kind
Yeah.
of interesting. Well, you say that in kind of a boring, okay, who
No,
cares?
it's one of those, yeah, he took a shot at Arkansas.
I don't, excuse me, I don't remember that part, but my thing is it's not about taking a shot at Arkansas or anything. You asked why Norvell hasn't really been considered. Well, the consensus from Sankey is that when a university in the SEC hires a coach, an assistant coach, anyone, they have to give the SEC their information, the coach's information, and the SEC does a background check and everything on them and approves the hire, which I found interesting.
Wow, I did not know that.
So, we've asked, why is Arkansas passed up Norvell? Why is, maybe even Ole Miss or Mississippi State, why have they passed up over him? Now it makes you kind of scratch your head like, what is in his past that these, maybe we haven't passed up on them, but maybe it was something the SEC said, no, this isn't going to happen.
So you think it was on the SEC side, not on Arkansas side?
Possibly. We'll never know that because they're never going to release that. And the university won't either.
No.
But if Norvell says he goes and gets a job at, Florida State,
See, that's where
outside of the SEC,
Brent Phillips says that Norvell's going to Florida State.
possibly, I'm kind of wondering if maybe old Gus Malzahn may be going to Florida State. You never know. But so talking about Gus Malzahn, what do you think about him as potentially the next coach?
The Gus Bus.
I don't want to
Really?
talk about the Gus Bus, but I do want to talk
Really?
about his record. So he's 60-30 overall at Auburn and 69-33 overall as a head coach with his year at Arkansas State too. He's making $7 million a year, and I find this interesting.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
Ah.
Hold on. With his buyout, he could pretty much Arkansas could really benefit from this situation because his buyout does not have a stipulation about finding a job and his buyout being reduced by how much ever he's making at his other job. So Arkansas could hypothetically just pay him a couple $1 million every year, and Auburn continue to pay him that salary until the buyout's paid. And then Arkansas could really use that money for defensive coordinator, for offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
If he could get Kevin Steele to come here as his defensive coordinator, I mean, we know. You think about, so when has Gus been most successful as a coach? When he has had a very athletic quarterback to be able to run his system. Who do we have on campus right now? A very athletic quarterback that can run his system. So why not Gus?
You really want to go up that train, don't you?
If he could bring Kevin Steele on as his defensive coordinator,
You really want to go there, don't
if he
you?
could bring Kevin Steele on as his defensive coordinator and be able to do that where we don't have to pay him $5 million a year and we could save that money to be able to put toward a defensive coordinator, not necessarily an offensive coordinator, because we all know Gus calls the plays. Even if he hires an offensive coordinator, they don't do crap but sit there and say yes sir, I guess, to stroke his ego. But
Never mind.
why not? So why not? So I mean, other than what's the history that's happened with Houston Nutt and the
Okay, but how did he get that $49 million contract? He used Arkansas when they were looking for a coach after Brett Bielema.
So
You cannot tell me that did not happen.
I will argue with that, and I will say this: I don't know if that he used Arkansas. We don't know. He very well could have been legitimately interested in coming here because the way his season was going before he up and beat Georgia and Alabama at the end of the year. Because remember, they were ready to run him out of town with pitchforks and everything. But then he comes back and beats those two teams.
I get it, but that happens every single year.
No, it doesn't.
Every year. He loses a game, whether if it's the Iron Bowl or to Georgia or to LSU. It's fire Gus, fire Gus, fire Gus.
So his 4 losses this year, or his 3 losses so far this year, are to top 10 teams. And so...
Where's our losses? Sorry, I couldn't help it.
He's
look.
trying to make me sick.
Look. The program, the football program, and I'm not afraid to say it. The football program is in shambles, so you cannot expect me to sit here and pump sunshine. But I'm not trying to be a negative Nancy either. This program is in shambles.
JM, as much as I love to have a great offensive like that, I just cannot think about bringing in a coach like Art Briles with the past that he has. And if it is true what Sankey said at the Touchdown Club yesterday about them looking into the coaches and everything, I don't know that Art Briles would ever be able to coach in the SEC. Because remember a couple of years ago when Bama tried hiring Hugh Freeze as their offensive coordinator, and they weren't able to. So I'm kind of wondering if, what Sankey said is true, then that would make sense as to why Freeze wasn't their offensive coordinator.
At the same time, though, okay, if they're going to look at past coaches, Danny Ford, I'm totally just coming up with names now. John L. Smith, at least he beat Kentucky. I'm just saying.
Really?
Come on. But the thing is I'm not going to pump sunshine, but I'm not going to be a negative Nancy. I'm an average fan just like the rest of you. I'm going to call it like I see it. We have been accused so much here this year of being negative on the team, of talking down the team. And all I am is a realist. I'm very honest. I tell it like it is.
Yeah, and I consider myself...
Sorry, I went off track. I know we were talking about Gus Malzahn, but...
No, and I do consider myself to be somewhat of a realist, but I also try to think of outside the boxes to...
Yeah, stop that.
Well, at a program like Arkansas that is... So you look at the SEC West. You're not Alabama. You're not Auburn. You're not LSU. You're probably right, unfortunately not in the last decade, but historically you're a little bit better than Texas A&M, and you're better than the 2 Mississippi State schools historically.
Okay.
So 4th at best in the SEC West, so that's subpar middle of the pack. So that's a 7-5 type season every year. So
that's a win, though. For me, okay, as long as Nick Saban is at Alabama and as long as he reloads, dude, to me that's gonna be an L.
So if 7-5 is your goal every year, and that's what everybody thinks Gus would bring to Arkansas, why wouldn't everybody want him as a coach outside of the off the field and the perceived thought that he used Arkansas for a major race 2 years ago?
Here's where I can see Arkansas. Okay, Bama, LSU, Arkansas. You can get 3rd in the SEC West. With the right coach and the right staff in here, you can get 3rd consistently in the SEC West. Do I think that we should shoot for 7-5 every year? And if we hit 7-5, yay. I think that needs to be the benchmark. Okay? Look at my mind just went blank. Dave Van Horn. Wow. I don't know why I blanked on that. Look at Dave Van Horn. Last year, he said, don't expect to be ranked. Don't expect to be talked about. Don't even expect to make Omaha. What happened? We went 0-2 at Omaha on a down year by Dave Van Horn standards. Okay? If we can just win one of our rivalry games, Missouri and the Battle Line rivalry, Battle for the Boot, if we can just be consistent in those, then the bowl game will be fine. But I don't think we need to settle for 4-8. I don't think we even need to settle for 6-6. 7-5 needs to be your benchmark, and that's the lowest you'll take.
Yeah, and I think
a down
really,
year.
Yeah, I think really 8-4 it needs to be what your benchmark is. So 8-4, 9-3. If you can go, so they're going to where we have to play a Power 5 team every year. So that's 9 games against Power 5. So if you can go 8-4, so that would be 3-1 out of conference at worst, and then 4-4 in conference. So that's winning your Eastern Division game.
Western. I'm sorry. I caught up.
And then you beat the 2 Mississippi schools, and then beat either Texas A&M or Auburn in a down year for Auburn or something like that. Then that's your 8-4 right there. And then you jump up with a 10-win season, once those, recruits are upperclassmen every couple of years. So, I think if we can go 8-4 every year and then have a jump up 10-11 in one season, excuse me.
But the problem is though, Will, is every year, Arkansas has been the laughingstock, and it's gotten progressively worse.
Well, they've been the laughingstock the last 2 years, but before that, that's the one thing I will say about Bielema. There were a couple of games there at the end of his tenure that they did kind of let go of the rope against Auburn and everything that really did, tick me off more than anything. But looking back, the players and everything fought with the coach, for the coach. The coach may not have been able to get them properly prepared for those games, but they fought for Bielema and the staff, and they legitimately wanted to play for the guy, and that just didn't happen with Morris. So I think that we can get a coach to come in here. Don't know who it is yet, but I think we can get a coach that can come in here and give us that 8-4 record every year, and there will be a down year here or there every 5 years or so, drop down to 6-6 or something. That just happens. It's a natural cycle. But am I asking for a coach to come in right now to compete for championships? As much as the fan in me wants to say yes, let's go pay $10 million for a coach to come in and do that. Realistically, right now, we need a coach that needs to come in and stabilize the program altogether.
So out of these 4, who would it be? If you were Hunter Yurachek and your short list consisted of these 4 guys, who would it be?
It would be between.
No. It can't be between. You got to pick one.
Okay, so I'm going before and let me tell you.
You're
why.
gonna be a leech, aren't you?
No, let me tell you why. Dang it! Why'd you have to make me to say no? Let me give you my reason before you interrupt me. Okay, so I'm gonna go with Lane Kiffin, and I'm going to say it's because of his potential to be able to create an elite staff at Arkansas when he gets the budget to be able to do so, to be able to hire someone like a Kendall Brawls or I forget his first name, his last name's Cumby, I think, another offensive coach, or a Joe Brady, someone like that as an offensive coordinator. Then you're able to bring in Lance Thompson as your defensive line coach, who is best friends with Sam Pittman, so that gives Sam Pittman a reason to come back to Arkansas. You make Sam Pittman the assistant head coach, whatever, for $1.5 million or something, and then you go get some elite or even an up-and-comer defensive back coach. There's a young guy that was a GA at Arkansas under Bielema named Aaron Henry, who is making a name of for himself pretty quickly. He's at NC State right now. So you go get him as your defensive back coach. You go get an elite defensive coordinator, which I don't know who that would be right now, but there's some out there that if we had up to $2 million to pay for a coordinator, they would easily come to Arkansas and help Lane Kiffin. I think Lane Kiffin has a young swagger to him that a program like Arkansas needs to be able to recruit, and I think that that's another thing Lane could do is be able to recruit.
Well, I think first off, and like I said, we're closing in on the end of the show, but I think the biggest thing, and I have to agree with Brent Phillips, you got to fix the culture first. You got to fix the locker room, because if you have a divided locker room, it's going to show on the field. And like I've said all year long, if they've had such a strong practice, such a great practice during the week, why are we getting blown out by teams like San Jose State, Kentucky, and freaking Western Kentucky by 30, 40 points? Why?
And that's a culture thing that they just didn't want to play for the coach anymore. I mean, that's where it comes from. But I want to come through some of these comments here real quick, like this last one from Paul. He's
Sure that's safe?
Yeah. He's asking, why is very many people not talking about Bo Pelini and what he did at Nebraska? See,
what is Bo Pelini doing now?
I think he's a coach at Youngstown State, somewhere like that, up in Ohio, somewhere like that. Paul, I think that he would be a very good candidate for a defensive coordinator. I don't think that he I don't think that he would be good enough to come in and be a head coach, because he didn't do a lot of great things at Nebraska.
Where was he before Nebraska? LSU?
He was defensive coordinator, I think, at LSU.
Okay,
wasn't he?
I think so.
Under
Saban? No, I don't think it was under Saban. I thought it was under Miles.
It might have been under Miles, but
why not Les?
Why not? Who?
Why not Les Miles? But again, that's for it's for another thing for another time.
Yeah, I think that we've got some. I think we do have some candidates out there that's interested in this. Yes, the program's in shambles right now, but I do think that he could come in, and I think Leach could really come in and help turn this culture around. I think Leach could. I think Kiffin could. I don't know about Norvell or Malzahn, because I don't know, the drama that you're always seeing at Auburn, and then I don't know with Norvell
that one's tough.
What his past is.
Your best chance is probably Kiffin or Leach.
Yeah.
But we're gonna close it with this. Will, what are your final thoughts, my man?
I say November 30th, I think, is Kiffin's last game. Man, it's hard for me not to think that there's something there, because he's trolling a lot of people on Twitter and everything, which I think is funny.
Yeah.
But he's also removed all of his FAU stuff from his bio.
Are you sure that's actually pointing at something, or do you think that's actually a troll?
It could be a troll, but I mean, it's a pain in the butt to have to put all that stuff back up there. So why do it? I mean,
True.
I mean, he's a coach of a Division I school. Why would he do that if there's not something to it? I mean, yeah, Lane Kiffin's a troll, but I think it's funny what who said. Someone said that Kiffin was something. J.M. McCoy says Kiffin basically said today he was happy in Boca Raton. Well, guess what? Saban said he wasn't going anywhere from the Miami Dolphins either. And what was it, a week later, he was a Alabama coach.
There
so, I mean,
go.
That's something you really can't. I don't think you can really take anything to. Matt Bound said that Kiffin's a you-know-what, and I don't like him. But I think he's our best bet. Now, I think that last sentence kind of resonates. There's, he may be a butthole, and I may not like him.
Now that's no way to talk about me. How you gonna?
I'm just telling you what everybody thinks. But anyways, but I think that culturally he could fix things here. So let's go. Let's open the checkbook. Let's pay Kiffin. I don't know, $3.5 million. I mean, it's not crazy money because he's not making crazy money now.
No,
you're going to more than double his salary. So give him 3.5. Go give him $2 million for a defensive coordinator. Give him up to $1 million for an offensive coordinator, and give him 1.5 if he can get Sam Pittman here.
That's pretty good, man.
Well, that's my dream staff. So
that's not bad. That's not bad. Well, guys, check it out. In closing, next week is Thanksgiving week. We've officially reached the holiday season. Okay. be nice to your families. Be nice to your friends. If you've got a friend that you know doesn't have a place to go for Thanksgiving, invite him in. Invite him in or meet up with him or do something. Or him or her or whatever. But be safe traveling this weekend. If you're going to Baton Rouge, if you're traveling for Thanksgiving next week, have fun. Enjoy the holiday.
Well, you're talking like we're not going to have a show between now and then. We've got another show.
Will you
coming
quit?
up
I was
Thursday.
right in the middle of a very sentimental moment. And you just killed it.
Oh, well.
You just killed it. So I haven't decided if we're doing a podcast next week or not, but of course everybody knows we're going to be live on location at War Memorial Stadium. I want to invite everybody to at least come by and say hi and enjoy the broadcast. Enjoy the game. It's probably going to be cold and wet. As far as the coaching search is concerned, guys, we got a long way to go. We have no idea who it is. We have no idea who the candidates are. But you got to trust the process. You got to trust Hunter Yurachek. Here's my reason why to trust him. Jordan Weber, Eric Musselman. Period. Eric Musselman, period, should be the only thing. But anything else, Will, before we get out of here?
Yeah, just a second. I want to put this up here real quick. Matt Bowden says, pay him a graduating salary. 7 wins, 1.5. 8 wins, 2.5. 9 wins, 3.5. It sounds like a great idea, but come on, let's be honest. No coach or agent would allow that contract to be signed.
And if he's talking about Lane Kiffin there,
yeah.
If Jimmy Sexton is his agent, he will never go for it.
I don't know that he is Lane's agent, but I would say if you did do something like that, you go in with something like 7 wins at $2 million, and then 8 wins, $3 million, 9 wins, 3.75, and then 10 wins or 9 wins in a bowl make it 4.2 or 4.75 or 5, something like that. So I mean, I can kind of see where you're going, but I think like 1.5 maybe a little bit short or on the short side compared to the coaching salaries today.
It's not bad. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap this puppy up. But like I said, trust the process. We're not going to know anything until the press conference announcing who that coach is going to be. So sit back, have fun, and basketball season has begun.
Hold on just a second. So
you're just killing my sentimental moments, aren't you?
Well, I mean, we got some fans that hadn't really said anything that's popped up here with a question. You've got Chris who's asking about Tim Kelly or Charlie Strong.
Chris is back. He came back home from Fort Benning, Georgia.
Yeah. So I don't really know who Tim Kelly is, but I can see Charlie Strong as a defensive coordinator if South Florida fires him this year. But I just don't think that Charlie Strong has what it takes to be an SEC head coach. I mean, he failed Texas. I mean, under some stupid, horrible circumstances with their powers that be. But I mean, he's down there at South Florida where he loves to be because he was at University of Florida as defensive coach, and he's not doing too great down there in a mediocre conference. So
true.
So I think. No, like Zach said, we just got to be patient. Tim Kelly's the Texans' offensive coordinator. I may have to do some research on him.
Might have to
see. I mean, he's down there playing. He's got Deshaun Watson as his quarterback, so he's probably running some of that RPO system down there.
Yep.
So maybe I'm looking at him.
Next time we're here, Thursday night, we're previewing LSU. We're going to touch on A-State and UCA. You're not going to want to miss it. It's Real Talk with Zach and Steve coming up Thursdays, 7-ish. Ish, maybe. So stay with us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. You've been watching a very special edition Coaches Search 2019 of Natural State Sports. So long, everybody.